Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round one of the GCGU August Contender series. Today, we are going to have Atomic Vato piloting Space Godzilla, facing Stevil piloting Mothra. This is going to be a best 2 out of 3 match. Whoever wins 2 matches will get to move on to the second round and the semifinals. Now, we'd like to thank our host, the Godzilla Card Game unofficial Discord, for allowing us to do the tournament here on their lovely server. Now we'll begin the round. We'll see who is going first. Looks like Stevil has the first turn of the game. He's going to go ahead and discard a 2-step to invade 2 spaces into Zone 3, and he is dropping 4 monsters to gain Rage. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call one Angry Moth. He will pass to his counter step, fail, and then move to the end step, advancing to 4 and drawing until he has 5 cards in hand. How will Space Godzilla respond? Drawing 1 card for the turn, because his opponent is currently a rank 1. Now, also dropping a 2-step to invade 2, and this will allow him to activate his one evading effect twice if he wishes to. He drops 1 card for a token. 1 crystal has been placed. And there's another card, making a second token, and he is also going to discard a monster card for some Rage. Moving to the counter step, the crystals give him 0 counter power, but they are going to assist in his threat level. So he is advancing to 4, drawing 3 cards to get to 5, and it is back to Mothra. Mothra draws a card. Now, how will Mothra respond to this turn of events? We can also see that Space Godzilla has placed the King Ghidorah off to the side to help him remember that it can come back from the discard. Oh, it looks like Mothra has used Atomic Breath on one of the crystals, thus slowing down Space Godzilla's ability to use the God of Destruction's counterattack. And we see another invasion from Mothra using a 2-step Ghidorah that can return from its discard pile, and 3 more monsters for 3 more Rage. Looks like Stevil has decided to play a Gorosaurus in Zone 5. Fail to counter his opponent and move to 7, refilling his hand to 5. Atomic Vato drawing his card and considering his options. He is going to play Godzilla Earth. Oh no, that's Godzilla Filius. Godzilla Filius into Zone 8. And invade with a Heat Ray. Moving 1, discarding an Atomic Breath to create a crystal. He is now up to 2 crystals. Discarding a monster card for a Rage. Failing to counter the Moth with 3 Rage, moving into 6, drawing cards, and passing the turn. Mothra begins by drawing 1 card. Discarding the strategies. Looking at the hand, maybe forgetting to calm their rage. Definitely forgetting to calm their rage. Gravity Beam has been played, and now Atomic Vato must choose 2 cards to discard from hand, so they will have 3 cards remaining. Looks like he's chosen to remove a monster and a heat ray. Playing a monster and then discovering the rage has not been reset. Now it has been reset and it's going to 1 after playing a Mothra over top. And getting out 1 King Ghidorah 1998 using its awakening effect. A base has been played. The battle at Fukuoka Tower. And a Godzilla 1991. And 1 more monster discarded for rage. This moth is going to have a large amount of threat at the end of this turn, ladies and gentlemen. But first, the counter. And it succeeds. Space Godzilla moves to rank 2. Mothra ends turn, moves into 8, and draws back up to 5. That base is currently giving 15,000 threat to Mothra. How will Space Godzilla respond to this? They're going to have to play more than just a single counterattack if they want to counter this monster here. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another Godzilla 1991, a King Ghidorah 98, and it looks to be a Space Godzilla. Invade with a strategy card, using Space Godzilla's revenge effect, but first, getting a token off of the invasion effect of his monster. That invasion has also conveniently destroyed the base that Mothra has played, thus effectively removing 15,000 threat from the board. Playing a monster and getting his own King Ghidorah 1998 out of the discard. Looks like the counter power is being counted, and it is enough. Mothra has been countered to rank 2. Space Godzilla advances to 7 and passes the turn. Now, Space Godzilla is sitting at, I believe, a very comfortable 25,000 threat in Zone 7. Mothra draws 2 cards and has to consider how they are going to respond to this current threat from Space Godzilla. Stevil apparently deliberating on what order to play the cards, or potentially what cards to even play. And there we have it. A King Ghidorah 1998, but this is not the 2-step, this is the 1-step, the rank 7, and he also plays a 2-step 98. And it looks like he plays a second 2-step 98. And 2 monster cards for rage. Looks like he is now counting up the counter power. Perhaps they have moved on to the counter step. It appears as if the counter has been declared and successful. Space Godzilla has ranked up to rank 3. The Enters effect is going to play 2 crystal tokens. Mothra advances to 4 and draws back up to 5, and the turn passes to Space Godzilla. He clears his rage, draws his cards, and what will we see him do? Mothra is currently sitting at 24,000 threat. Space Godzilla needs to be in 6 to get any kind of counter power, or to get the special counter power bonus from the Godzilla 91. But if he moves into 5, he does in fact have enough crystals to play a counter attack which will get him to 25 with an unawakened Godzilla 91. Space Godzilla invades 1 using a Gorosaurus, putting him into Zone 5. It's a very important zone for Space Godzilla. It is where the counterattack is turned on, becomes playable, and looks like they are discarding a monster for a rage. And that gaining of rage will trigger the second effect of Space Godzilla's rank 3, which is destroying low-ranking battle cards. I believe the number is 4 and lower. And Stevil is taking advantage of the revenge effect of that Godzillasaurus, and he is going to return his Godzilla 1991 to his hand by discarding another card. It looks like it was a Desghidorah. And then we have a strategy card. This is from Singular Point, and it's going to destroy 1 card of each color in the back row, but since there's only green, it destroyed the Godzilla 1991. A monster being played on top, gaining a second rage, creating 2 more crystals. And also returning that Ghidorah 98 to the field, which will crush the Godzilla Filius, which unfortunately will not trigger revenge. And there is a second 98, crushing 1 of the crystal tokens. Space Godzilla currently representing 17 counter power, but here comes a counter attack which will make it 37. That is enough. Mothra goes to rank 3 on enter. This Mothra will allow you to put 2 monster cards from your discard underneath it to reduce your opponent's rage by 1. And for this deck specifically, a significant factor is that there is now a larger stack under this Mothra. Space Godzilla advancing to 6, drawing up to 5, and then passing the turn, Mothra drawing cards and resetting rage. Stevil is thinking about what he will do this turn. counting his stack of monsters. He does in fact have 5, which activates the ability of the King Ghidorah 98 in Zone 8, which gets an extra 3,000 counter power as long as you have 5 monsters stacked underneath your monster. Space Godzilla representing 28,000 count threat. And we see another Godzillasaurus come down right in the way of getting crushed. And a Godzilla 91 being used to invade 2 into 6, crushing that Godzillasaurus. Its revenge ability will trigger. It looks like 1 monster card will be discarded to put a 91 into his hand. With Space Godzilla in 6, that 91 can now come down with its awakened effect. Oh, and Stevil also plays a monster card over top of his Mothra, giving it extra threat and extra rage. And returning that previously stomped Ghidorah 98. 2 more monsters for 2 more rage. And he is using a Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Is he going to choose 3 rank 4s, 2 rank 6s? Looks like he chose 2 rank 6s for both zones 3 and 8. And then he plays 2 Godzilla 91s. It looks like his hand is now empty. Moving to the counter step, that is a lot of counter power that is being represented. We have each of those Godzilla 91s offering 15,000 counter power. So they would reach 30. You've got the King Ghidorah 98 in 8 doing 10 to get you to 40. And then you have 3 Ghidorah 98s that are the 2 steps, the rank 6s, and those are 6 apiece. 40 plus 18 is going to be 58. That will be enough to counter the rank 3. It gets pushed back to 5, and the rank 4 comes out and relocates the 98 in Zone 1 right in front of Mothra just in time to get stomped. Or no, I think it relocated it just below Mothra, so when Mothra gets countered, if Mothra gets countered, it will get stomped. Space Godzilla now in the position to create as many tokens as it can produce rage. Well, twice as many tokens as it can produce rage. But Mothra is presenting a not small number of 38,000 threat. Atomic Vato playing 2 of his own Godzilla 1991s and another King Ghidorah 98. Now, if he has another counterattack, I believe that will get him to a high enough number for the counter. Discarding 1 card for rage and creating 2 crystal tokens. Now look at the sportsmanship here, folks. Atomic Vato is literally adding tokens over top of tokens, but going through the proper mechanic of having the crystal token crush the crystal token beneath it. And he plays a monster over top of his monster, creating 1 more rage and again 2 more crystal tokens. He is maintaining just the 3 token positions, wanting to keep the other battle cards that he has already played in play as they are. It looks like he has decided to play a Ghidorah 98 over top of one of his 98s. And there is a counter attack. He is counting up the counter power. Moving on to the counter step, and the counter is successful. Mothra moves to rank 4. Now this Mothra has an enters effect, but only if you have a base in play will it do anything. Space Godzilla advances to 6. Stevil draws cards, resets rage, and clears out the strategies, and it is now time to see what he will do during the main phase. Who will win in this final clash? Both players are at their rank 4s. Looks like he's going to invade 2 with a Ghidorah 98. Does this mean that he has a monster to play over top in order to get those Ghidorahs back from the discard? Who knows, because first there's going to be a gravity beam. Atomic Vato selecting a King Ghidorah 98 to discard and a Atomic Breath. And there is the monster going over top. It is the first form of Aqua Mothra from set 3. And we have 3 Ghidorah 98s getting played from the discard pile using their Awakening effect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think that might be enough. Moving on to the counter step and declaring all of that counter power. Got 30 from the 91s, 10 from the rank 7, and 24 from the rank 6s. That will be game. Space Godzilla has been countered by Mothra in this final turn of game 1. Stevil will have the first win of the round. Now, general rules for the GCGU Contender series involves players being able to have 2 different decks, but both Atomic Vato and Stevil have decided to use just the 1 deck for all 3 games today, ladies and gentlemen. So they're not going to be changing decks at all, they're just going to reshuffle, and then we will get this next game started. Now, while they are shuffling up their decks and randomizing their cards, I would just like to give a shout out to all of the people who are on the unofficial Godzilla card game Discord for being there to participate in not just discussion, but also gameplay, whether it be competitive or casual. We also have many members more than happy to help people learn the game. It is a wonderful place for players both experienced and new to play, learn, and just interact with people who love the card game and Godzilla in general. And they are the wonderful hosts of this tournament series. Now it looks like we have finished shuffling and cut the deck on Stevil's side. And Atomic Vato has finished his randomization as well. Alright, both players are set up and ready to start the game. Atomic Vato is taking the first turn in this round. And he is going to discard a 2-step to invade twice. And I think we will once again see 2 discards for 2 crystal tokens. Yes, a King Ghidorah 98 rank 7 and a Space Godzilla monster. And the placement of his crystals is a little bit different this time. And he is discarding a monster card for a Rage. Advancing to 4 and passing the turn. Alright, Stevil drawing a card and looking at his options. He is going to stack a monster over top. He now has another rank 1 over top of his rank 1, gaining 1 rage off of that play a monster action. 3 more monsters will give him 3 more rage. And no invasion this time, ladies and gentlemen. He just steps into Zone 2 and draws to 5 cards. Space Godzilla, beginning their turn, resetting rage, drawing a card. I find it very interesting that both of these decks have some very similar monster or battle cards in their main decks. They're running a very similar package of cards, being Godzilla 91 and both of those King Ghidorah 98s. It looks like Space Godzilla has raged twice, and they are just going to step into Zone 5. And then they will go ahead and draw until they have 5. Mothra drawing a card and beginning their turn. Play is being considered. Discarding Gravity Beam to invade 2 into Zone 4. Playing a battle at Fukuoka Tower Base. Discarding 2 monsters for 2 rage. End of turn, failing to counter, moving into 5 and drawing until they have 5 cards in hand, passing the turn over to Space Godzilla. That tower is only giving an extra 5,000, but at the moment that basically counts as 1 extra rage. Soon, if it is not taken care of, it will count for more in the future. Space Godzilla stacking a monster over his monster. I'm not sure if we have seen any of the King Ghidorah 98 rank 6s in the discard piles yet. But either way, this is good preparation for the Godzilla 91s that will inevitably come down in the future. 1 Space Godzilla being played, another one almost played, but I think they considered otherwise. Space Godzilla still just 1 crystal token away from being able to successfully play a God of Destruction's counterattack. Looks like that Space Godzilla is going to come down into Zone 6. And they are assessing the threat of their opponent, which is going to be 20,000. Looks like they might be considering whether it would be worthwhile invading and crushing that Space Godzilla. It looks like that is in fact the case. Invading, destroying the base because they invaded into Zone 6. They are getting back with Space Godzilla's Revenge Effect, a monster. The one that they discarded for the invade because it is a rank 2, and then they are going to discard that Godzilla 91 to get a third crystal token. And Mothra is now sitting at 15,000 threat. And there is the counter attack. 3 crystals are in play, so it is giving 20,000 counter power. The counter is successful. Mothra goes to rank 2, and Space Godzilla steps into 7 and uses that Space Godzilla's Revenge Effect to get back another monster card to hand. Two cards in hand, they will draw 3. And then pass the turn. Mothra drawing 1 card. This time they are on the back foot with the counter attacks. Stevil once again forgetting to reset the rage at the beginning of his turn. Undoubtedly, when he goes to discard some monsters or play a monster over top of his monster, he will notice. And there we go, folks. It looks like, counting stacks. With Space Godzilla in Zone 7, all battle cards that are in Stevil's hand should be usable, and he has decided to spend one of those battle cards to invade 1, and he is playing another one into Zone 8. He is playing a Godzilla 1991 into Zone 1. He is discarding a monster card for a Rage. And he is playing another Battle at Fukuoka Tower base. And with a battle card in both 8 and 1, it will be giving an extra 10,000 threat to his monster. And if his monster had succeeded in countering his opponent, the Mothra's effect would have given them 2 more rage. But the counterattack falls just short, being 12 against the 13 threat of Space Godzilla. Mothra, sitting at 29 threat, will require more than just a single counterattack. How will Space Godzilla respond to this? We have both monsters sitting in 7, but at the end of Space Godzilla's turn, they will be stepping into 8. So if they cannot counter the Mothra will have an opportunity to invade 2 for the win. Atomic Vato considering his options. There is now a Space Godzilla in Zone 3. That means that if they are countered during Mothra's next turn, they will get a monster of their choice back. And they do play a rank 7 Ghidorah 98. It is too early in the game for that battle card to be able to be getting its bonus. Space Godzilla invading 1 to destroy the base. And using Heat Ray on the battle card in Zone 8. Two monster cards for 2 rage, but 10,000 is not enough to counter that Mothra, and now Space Godzilla sitting in 8, and Mothra has the 2-step for the victory. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 2 straight games to Mothra. Stevil will be taking home the win for this round, and he will be moving on to the semi-finals of this Contender series. Thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. This was quite the match between Mothra and Space Godzilla. We look forward to seeing you in the next round.